It is so cool to be here, and I've gotten teary 3 times already. It seems like multi-generational grandmothers are the theme, which is really cool. 10 years ago, I never dreamed that I'd be standing in a country club delivering a keynote on philanthropy. It would have baffled me to take on the subject, to be honest. But a lot can change in 10 years. And today I'm so honored to walk you through my story of how philanthropy has fast become an all-consuming passion. Not only for how I frame it for myself and my family, but for how my generation can cultivate the soil for generation next. Right there. I have a couple props. This is Gammy. I don't know if you can see her in the back row, but she's here. Whoop, whoop. Gonna put her right there. Jane B. Cook, my grandmother. I'm actually named after her. Nini is a nickname for Jane. Gammy was an heir to Dow Jones and Company, and she raised my mom, 2 aunts, plus a host of cousins and grandchildren to believe the generosity and giving were core values, along with stewarding the editorial integrity of Dow Jones' flagship newspaper, the Wall Street Journal. Okay. One more prop. You all know what that is. My earliest memories of Gammy involve my grandmother's enduring commitment to content, alongside her undeniable compassion for everything living, dogs and elephants included. I understood on a surface level that delivering the philanthropic tradition that my grandmother built for us was a critical responsibility, especially because I worshipped Gammy. And my parents were outstanding communitarians as well, very generous givers of time and energy, parties, and talent. But regrettably, throughout my 20s and early 30s, philanthropy really remained at arm's length to me, to be honest. It was a meaningful thread, but just that, a thread. And it didn't much reflect who I was or what I added up to. Let's call a spade, people. I was a little more philanthropic than philanthropic. Putting it out there. This did change, which is why I'm standing here now. And it didn't happen in a boardroom. It didn't happen in a country club. It happened in a muddy field. The story starts with my own 2 sons and Cam, a 9-year-old friend diagnosed with leukemia. My boys wanted to help Cam somehow, but thanks to mediocre culinary school skills, I kiss better than I cook, I couldn't offer much in the I'll bring over a lasagna department. So my boys and I settled on helping and organize a community youth run in honor of Cam as an added element to the Chad Half Marathon in Hanover, New Hampshire that I was an organizer of. As incentive, we promised to double every dollar generated by young participants. All the proceeds we raised together would go to the Children's Hospital treating Cam. So the day of the tribute run came around, but so did a wicked nor'easter. It rained hard. So hard that the course lost power, tents blew away, it looked grim. But a multitude of families showed up to run for Cam anyway. 400 soaking wet bodies, including those of my sons, came through the Cam's course finish line in the pouring rain, looking so proud, so strong, and so hopeful. Cam was really sick too. He came anyway, carried across the finish line by his school principal to the sight and sound of his friends standing there, holding hands, humming Chariots of Fire, waiting for him because there was no sound or music. And as I stood there in the finish line, watching the determination plastered across those mud-splattered faces, I realized that kids too, kids especially, want to help when times get tough. This event was a powerful and physical gesture of love. One small act of compassion generated by my own family had blossomed into large-scale community mobilization. And I remember thinking, hot damn, this is philanthropy in motion, right before my very eyes. And suddenly I understood the power of philanthropy as a two-sided leveraged exchange. This gesture was helping kids themselves, how they viewed their role in supporting Cam's struggle with cancer as they were delivering change. We were lifting while we climbed. And through this muddy medium, kids were building their own story and self-esteem in a personal quest for a cause. This was next-gen sweat for good. Endurance philanthropy. This was positive tracks. I'll never forget the pride I saw on those faces that day. The thing is, when something goes wrong in their world, kids are yearning to fix it. They want to be involved. They're chomping at the bit to help. We see adults seeking purpose, yearning to make a difference everywhere we look. But all too often, we fail to recognize that young people, they want to claim who they are, not just by the apps they use or the schools they go to, but by what they bring to the table at large. These days, finding meaning through connecting to something bigger confirms to young people that they play a valid role in shaping the world now. And not only is it worthwhile for kids to do this and to see themselves as civic leaders, but the rest of the world, the grown-ups, we need to witness this because it's contagious across generations. It's hope. It is the future. So I had inadvertently bumped into an intersection between a few of my interests, philanthropy and athletics, as a way to activate youth philanthropy. And as a result, I had sparked my own authentic connection. Partnering philanthropy and athletics created a perfect storm for me. I came from the belly of both beasts. So I named this big sweaty idea Positive Tracks. The only thing I could really promise at the beginning to kids was that I would try to keep it fun. I would share their stories of charitable sweat with anyone who'd listen, and I would continue to double the dollars raised by ages 23 and under. And when I ran out of my own loot, I'd find other people who reckoned that something as serious as protecting our globe can't be put into the hands of adults. I immediately went to my family office at Hemingway and Barnes, some of them are sitting in the back, to help me actualize this quest, because I didn't know how. I had no idea where to start. Multiple advisors there, and I'm going to call out Gioia Perugini as my #1 H&B hero, with excellent guidance, expertise, and encouragement, helped me turn me and my family, my parents, my aunts, my cousins, husband, and children, turn a dream into a living, breathing, entrepreneurial incubator of multi-generational activism. Seeded initially by Jane's Trust, the mechanism crafted by Gammy to help her descendants give. Several years later, I'm standing up here. Positive Tracks is a public charity, complete with an awesome staff also out there, and many partners delivering a scaled youth development program that gets young people off the couch while teaching them to shape their own future and the future of our world by helping others via charitable athletic events and their own sweat. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What made me latch onto the experience with a sudden sense of urgency to run with it, so to speak? I can trace it to two catalysts. There was a bib and there was a Batsuit. Got another problem. When I say bib, I'm talking Race-Bib. Goes here. I discovered in my mid-30s that running long distances helps me believe I can take on something big. After my first marathon, I went to run on a 50-miler, then a 100-miler. That hurt. But it helped me learn who I am and what I'm made of. Here's what I love about sweat. It's tangible. You feel it, taste it, see it. It makes you hungry. It makes you strong, healthy, confident. Makes your brain work better, makes you brave, and it's yours. You make it yourself, using your heart, your arms, your feet, your guts. It's proof of ownership, of having skin in the game. Sweat is the byproduct of getting yourself to a starting line. In A Runner's Guide to the Meaning of Life, Amby Burfoot writes, "Starting lines are among the most important stations in life. We need to more than just avoid them. We need to actively seek them out. Otherwise, we grow stagnant. When you see the first hazy edges of a starting line begin to form in your life, don't avoid it. Don't look the other way. Try to bring the starting line into sharper focus and consider its potential. Remember that if you don't go to the starting line, you'll never view the whole course with all its possibilities." Starting lines, metaphorical and real, promise sweat. And in my book, there are two kinds of sweat. Some sweat you make for you, to stay healthy, to win the game, do your job. But then there's another kind, let's call it sweat 2.0. It's the uber sweat you create when you introduce regular sweat with a new beast, one that produces similar human byproducts, thumping heart, face lit from the inside, love. Let's talk about love. It makes you feel alive, part of a team, bursting, lucky, connected to someone, connected to the earth. When you merge sweat and love, all their close cousins come flying out. Bam! Courage, collaboration, community, commitment, compassion. They're all there when Sweat 2.0 enters the scene. At Positive Tracks, we call the magic alchemy between sweat and love Philanthletics. Philanthropy, love, plus athletics, sweat equals Philanthletics. Where giving back meets going the extra mile. It's that happy, healthy, stinky, totally exhausted, I can't wait to do it again feeling you get when perspiration and inspiration meet. Josh Elks, 23-year-old co-chair of the Positive Tracks Youth Ambassador Board, articulates the power of the Philanthletic starting line in his final blog post in a recent run across Haiti. He says, "My flight landed about 24 hours ago in New York City, and I'm just beginning to process what our team accomplished. While in Haiti, my time was spent living in the moment, putting one foot in front of the other, while a country unfolded before my eyes. Today was the first time since beginning this journey where I began to reflect on how I managed to run 230 miles across Haiti. The only way I was able to arrive at the finish line was by starting. This mentality is something I will continue to carry throughout my life. Planning, preparing, and theorizing are important, but they don't actually get you anywhere. The only way to accomplish something is by empowering yourself and simply starting." So catalyst number 2. Oh, I want to put it on. I'll hang it here. It might not stay. The Batsuit. When Positive Tracks was first getting off the ground for its founding charity partner, Chad, the Children's Hospital at Dartmouth, we decided to break a Guinness World Record for most superheroes gathered at the same time and place to raise awareness for Chad's half marathon. So we committed to promoting the challenge via super suit sightings all around town. And within a few months, we had representatives of all ages from multiple communities running around in superhero costumes, raising wild enthusiasm, keen interest, and a super cool, heroic vibe. Kids and adults were going to school as Batman, grocery shopping as Wonder Woman, banking as Hulk, water skiing as Spidey, paragliding as Super. We had super suit sightings in Wyoming, Seattle, India, France, Alaska. Even teachers and cops were firing up capes. Awesome. I too logged solid mileage in my running shoes and on my road bike as Batgirl. It's a little stinky, and wow, was it an incredible feeling to believe in the power of the cape, to join a few thousand people activating that hero metaphor. Ordinary people going to extraordinary measures for the lives of others. It was organized action. It was a movement. And yes, we broke the record 2 years running. We weren't thinking our way into a new way of doing. We were doing our way into a new way of thinking. And I was a changed woman. Bye-bye, soccer mom. Hello, Batgirl. Lesson learned: when you name something, you give it power. When you name yourself something, it changes the way you see yourself and how the world sees you. So be careful how you classify yourself. Don't underestimate the power of a rubber dress and settle for nothing less than Batgirl. Dennis Litkey, co-founder of Big Picture Learning, has found that the single most important factor in kids' learning is whether they believe they can. Shazam, that's the secret sauce. Kids believing they can. Ownership then follows, and that's critical too. New data from the global marketing firm Deep Focus reports that 20% of Generation Z, that's those born after 95, report that they want to start a charity in their lifetimes. With their ready access to information, they can form their own opinions, says Jamie Gutfriend of Deep Focus. This means when it comes to philanthropy, kids want a seat at the table as independent thinkers with their own perspectives. At DoSomething.org, CEO Aria Finger says, Gen Z likes putting their own voices into things and don't want something that someone else has made for them, where they feel like just a cog in the wheel. We see this confidence and ownership firsthand at Positive Tracks. Take Oliver Morgan, who's climbing all 48 4,000-foot peaks in New England, or the Cupcake Girls, Ella and Molly, who have raised over $5,000 for their Dempsey Challenge running team by selling over 2,000 cupcakes in 12 different flavors, all named especially for the Patrick Dempsey Center for Cancer, Hope, and Healing. I get to follow and share these stories every day. That's cool. An interesting part of my journey is that I've been learning about my own feelings about philanthropy while I've built Positive Tracks, an organization built to help kids connect to and access philanthropy. So my philanthropic journey has run parallel to mentoring and coaching kids on their philanthropic journey. And you know what? Kids have helped make me better and wiser as much as my own mentors have helped me. Kids have not only helped make me a better philanthropist, but a better advisor myself. The MetroWest YIP program certainly nails the mentor piece too. When Anna, a shy, kind high school junior, left MetroWest at the end of her co-op to return to school, she gave Jennifer, her young teacher, a tomato plant with a beautiful note describing her experience. Jennifer, I gave you tomatoes to symbolize the seed that you did indeed plant. It may be a cliche, but if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have even known about the foundation or had any idea what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Thanks to Yip and your continued teaching, I finally understand the importance of community foundations and, moreover, giving locally. I cannot thank you enough for the insight you have given me. So I'll wrap up the story of my own journey with an inspection of MetroWest's recent call to action, Be a Philanthropist. Last prop. You can all have one of these. Be a Philanthropist certainly relates to Positive Tracks, as we are in the end asking youth to be philanthropists on their own turf and terms. Sometimes when I simplify what we do at Positive Tracks, I tell people we help young people turn sweat into gold. Lately though, I've been wondering if we've gotten it wrong describing ourselves this way. Because in the end, philanthropy is not just about gold. The Greek derivation of philos means give love. Anthro means human. So at its core, philanthropy is about love for humanity above all. But before love can take center stage, we first need to focus on cultivating basic human empathy. Converting resource into change requires communication and language, an authentic understanding and compassion for human need, human struggle, human inequality. And this is where sport can play a valuable role globally in leveling the playing field with a universal language. This is the basis of Positive Tracks. It's teaching empathy and human connection through a language that kids get. But this can get lost when raising or giving gold is also present, because money is visible and easy to measure. Positive Tracks does highlight youth dollars raised as an undeniable marker of success. And we need these tangible benchmarks because our relationships to donors and grant recipients is contractual. Expectations are spelled out in detail based on research, data, measurable evidence. Quantifying impact is essential science, and I respect its importance and value completely. But raising dollars is only a fraction of what's involved in activating youth philanthropy today. So we're working on getting our arms around how to measure youth empathy, leadership, and transformation, because those outcomes are arguably more important than dollars raised or given in the end. Prioritizing love for humanity over dollars raised not only changes our tactics and long-term goals, but it changes what our world looks like down the road. Jennifer and Peter Buffett pose a related question in their recent letter, Philanthropy Must Lead with Its Heart. They ask, so how can we infuse love into the motivating force behind moving money? Love means investing in people because people create lasting change. Love means accepting that social change is ultimately about human capacity, human relationships, and human happiness. Progress in these areas is never easy to measure. After all, how do you measure a girl knowing she's safe? How do you measure a worker's dignity? How do you measure joy? I agree with the Buffetts. It's a mistake to overlook emotional investment in lieu of quantifying economic or process outcomes. Work for social change requires an investment of the heart that's part cognitive, part perception, part instinct in order to teach compassion, communication, and love. Helping youth activate change also involves empowerment, which is often best amplified by a personal relationship of a mentor. When you love me and look into my eyes, I can see how much you believe in me reflected in your eyes. When you love me, you show me the power of my own potential. This extremely personal exchange is what I'm after as a philanthropist. I want my own kids and their generation to know how much I believe in their capacity to steward our globe. And I believe that more than anything else, love for humanity is the fuel that will drive future generations to use innovation, creativity, and their own power, Sweat 2.0, to activate change. The human interaction, the hands-on component involved in my giving today elevates philanthropy from a transaction into an endurance sport for me. It makes me feel like a worthy human in my own eyes. Gone is the assumption that my compassion for humanity can be well represented by sticking a check in the mail. Nope, I'm Sweaty Betty, and I still can't bake. So that's what be a philanthropist means to me. But you're you, and you gotta float your own boat, wear your own cape. My advice from a recovering trust funder's perspective is get your hands dirty. Don't let changing the world slow you down. Focus on changing the small space around you and watch the ripple effect unfold. Think about the relationships you could forge, the enthusiasm you could spark, the part of you that's most valuable to your community and the people and the causes you really care about. And then give that part, that special part, wholeheartedly, whatever it looks like, whether it's leadership, a great sense of humor, or your own Sweat 2.0. If you need a final nudge, imagine your granddaughter telling a story about you in a keynote she delivers in a country club one day. Think about the role you'd like to play in that story. Think about how you'd like to be included in the story your granddaughter tells about love. That's it.